Welcome, it's denome, and welcome to this crypto update. Today I have good news that we got the 25 basis point rate cut and we have more lined up for this year. And I will show you how many exactly is expected for this year. Also, we have some disturbing news coming from United States that I will share in this video because that is actually bullish for crypto in a twisted way. So I will share with you guys that. I will give you guys a trade idea that you can copy if you want to. Obviously, there's risk involved, but I think it's going to work out. And then obviously we will look at the fundamentals in crypto as well. So let's actually get started with the rate cuts, how many will happen this year. And here we have Zero Hedge, who has published data coming straight from the Federal Reserve. So 9 out of 19 board members see 2 more rate cuts this year. So basically half of the board members already see 2 more rate cuts coming this year. 2 see 1 more rate cut, and 6 see no more cuts. 1 sees a rate hike, and then there's one person who wants 5 rate cuts more this year, and that is obviously none other than Stephen Miran, who is Donald Trump's appointee to the Federal Reserve, and he was also the tariff architect behind Donald Trump's tariffs that we have seen throughout this year as well. So all in all, most of these are expecting at least 2 more rate cuts. That would translate into a 25 basis point cut for October and 25 basis point cut for November. That seems, for December. So 2 cuts this year is very, very likely. And when we head over to Polymarket, you can see that for October, many people are expecting a 25 basis point rate cut, 80% at the moment, 15% say no change. And then for December, 72% say 25 basis point rate cut, 22% say no change. So it's very likely that we will get 2 more 25 basis points rate cuts this year, October and December. That seems to be the idea. Now, why does Stephen Miran want 5 rate cuts? There's a twisted reason why they want it. So let me show you the disturbing news coming now from United States. And that has to do with Antifa. So Donald Trump has designated Antifa as a dangerous or major terrorist organization. And why I think this is disturbing is not because Antifa is being labeled as terrorist. In a way, I do agree with that statement. Antifa is very violent and they have created a lot of chaos in the United States. But there's a lot of people who have aligned themselves with Antifa who have never broken the law in any way within their involvement in the leftist movement or radical movement called Antifa. Now, when Donald Trump does this, it basically creates a blanket on the whole leftist side of the aisle. Because who is part of Antifa and who is not part of Antifa, that is unclear. Let's say you donated money to Black Lives Matter in 2020. You could be considered part of Antifa. And now, if today in 2025 and or 2026 you speak against Trump, you speak against the wars that Trump is involved in, then Trump could dig up your transaction with the BLM movement and consider that you are part of Antifa. And your bank account could get frozen, you could be questioned, you can be thrown into jail. And in some cases, they can actually dish out death to US citizens. Now, this is extremely unlikely, and I'm a little bit exaggerating this because there has to be an imminent threat to public safety for them to start killing other Americans. But still, as you know, USA does not negotiate with terrorists, and they take this very seriously. So I do also want to talk about seriously about this matter. And another reason why this is extremely dangerous that Donald Trump is doing this is because the name Antifa literally translates to anti-fascism, and now they attack anti-fascism, which basically makes Donald Trump's administration fascist by default. And this is not the only time in history we have seen something like this, because when you ask Grok, how did Nazis use anti-terrorism to seize control? Well, the answer is very straightforward. In 1933, there was a fire in Germany, and then the Nazi Germany blamed the uh, communists to justify emergency measures, and afterwards they added these emergency measures. Then they suspended civil liberties like free speech. This is exactly what Donald Trump is now doing. Assembly. Well, if you are part of Antifa, Black Lives Matter, you cannot really protest, obviously, in the guise of combating terrorism. And this allowed mass arrests of opponents and then granted Hitler dictatorial powers, consolidating Nazi control. And sources even debate if the fire was staged or not. So we have a historical precedent of what has happened before, and typically when government goes into emergency powers, they don't easily let go of those emergency powers. So in my opinion, this is a massive, massive, massive no-no, not because I sympathize with Antifa, but because this basically allows Donald Trump to use Antifa as as a terror mechanism against the left. Do not speak against our wars, do not speak against my policies, or I will label you as Antifa or Antifa sympathizer or something like this, which makes them cancelled. So he's going after media organizations, he's going after normal people, he's probably going after my YouTube channel soon, who knows what they're going to do with this. But this is extremely serious, what's going on, and this is completely undermining the democratic values that, or even Republican values that Donald Trump campaigned with going into power in 2024. So I completely disagree with this whole idea here, and I feel like the USA is going into a very dark path with this decision here. And what makes this even more disgusting is that they are using Charlie Kirk's death as an excuse to go after Antifa, even though the connection between the killer of Kirk is still very questionable, especially if there's anything radical leftist in the whole idea, that is still under debate. But they are already going full on after Antifa, and this makes me basically question the whole who killed Charlie Kirk question as well. And I'm not gonna get into that discussion in this video, but all in all, I'm saying is that they are milking the every drip of blood that Charlie Kirk had to basically push for their own political agenda, together with obviously none other than Israel. So the Prime Minister of Israel, this is now the fifth or the sixth post that they talk about Charlie Kirk together. And again, in this video, they actually blame Qatar for fueling the idea that somehow Israel might be involved in this. And they basically say that well, he's trying to frame that Charlie Kirk wants USA to have tight security control together with Israel, and they together go against the leftist idea. So this is insane in my opinion. But here's where it gets back to crypto. This is bullish. And why is this bullish for crypto? The answer is very simple. Donald Trump wants to keep the public extremely docile. And to do that, you want the markets to continue to go upwards. If the markets go up, that basically means that the rich people in power don't complain. And the normal people get to keep most of their jobs, even though the real economy is sinking under Donald Trump, but the financial economy is booming with these rate cuts. So they want the markets to pump so they can take complete control over the political system in the United States on the side. That's their idea as of now, in my opinion. And I'm not saying they have anything to do with the death of Charlie Kirk, but they're absolutely milking every drip of blood from that event there. And this is insane, but it is still bullish for crypto. So that's why I'm reporting it in this channel, despite it being very political. And you can disagree or agree with me that this is bullish or not bullish for crypto, but that's just my opinion that this is fundamentally bullish. But it is absolutely despicable what they're doing with the dead man's corpse. But anyway, continuing to the fundamentals. And the fundamentals also say that this is bullish for crypto. So first off, looking at Google Trends, are retail investors back? And the answer is still a huge no. So there's just no retail interest in Bitcoin or crypto as of now. But meanwhile, when we take a look at on-chain fundamentals, we are seeing massive whale accumulation. So let me show you that. Here, when we take a look at the supply of Bitcoin on exchange reserves, even though Bitcoin has continued to go up, Bitcoin has been continuing to leave exchange wallets. And that typically means that whales are accumulating Bitcoin, taking it out of exchanges. Also, when we take a look at the stablecoin supply, that has increased roughly $1 billion since my Monday's crypto update. So fundamentally, that is also good. And then when we take a look at old wallets that have held Bitcoin for more than 1 year, we're basically seeing no sell activity here. We did see a blip right before the rate cut announcement. Some people wanted to de-risk their positions, but we haven't seen a lot of profit taking afterwards, which is good to see. We have seen profit taking from this orange line, which is wallets that have held Bitcoin for less than 1 year. So short-term holders have been taking profits, long-term holders are not taking profits as of now. So fundamentally, that is good. And also, when we take a look at the amount of Bitcoin held by wallets that have 100 to 1000 Bitcoin, these are typically your Bitcoin treasury companies and ETFs who diversify their Bitcoin into smaller, less than 1000 Bitcoin wallets. They have increased their Bitcoin holdings throughout this whole time as Bitcoin has been creeping upwards here. So this shows that whales continue to accumulate Bitcoin uh, even though retail investors are completely out of the picture. And these things together, they are basically fuel for the fire. So when retail investors do come back, then we will see the pump, and then we will see whales basically start to sell in their positions as well. So a lot of whale buying still happening. And again, to prove that, going into bitcointreasuries.net, here we have 6 more entities since my Monday's update holding Bitcoin as a treasury asset, and 20,000 Bitcoin has entered into ETFs and into these treasury companies since my last update as well. So quite a bit of accumulation on there. For Ethereum, not as much accumulation, but Bitmine Immersion Tech has bought 82,000 Ethereum since my last update. So that is $377 million, which is still quite a bit. But all in all, whales are accumulating. Retail investors are still sidelined. We got the rate cut. We have anticipation of 2 more rate cuts for this year. And Donald Trump's political motivation is to continue to pump the markets. So now let me show you how you can copy a trade idea if you want to do this. So here's what you would do. This move here could still be a fake out, but what is currently happening is we have a retouch of the trend line. So right now you could already long this position if you want to, but a safer bet is to have a conditional order right above this high here, because if we have another high here, then it's likely that Bitcoin will go to the upside here. Then you would have a stop loss basically below this swing low here, $114,300, and that's basically you go to the all-time high. That is basically your profit target. If you want to take profits earlier, you could take out profits at roughly $120,000 as well, basically halfway. So that's basically the trade there. And how you would set up this conditional order is quite simple. I will show it to you using bybit.com here. So here, this is my exchange account, and I've already selected conditional order on the side here. And then you select the price that you want to enter into the conditional order, and that is right above this price level here, $117,900. And then you can use either a market order or a limit order. If you use market order, then you have 100% certainty that your order will get filled, but you will pay a little bit more fees if you do a market order. I've selected a limit price order. So then you basically just copy the price 2 times into this box here. And then you select the quantity, how many Bitcoin you want to have in this trade. I've selected 0.02 Bitcoin worth roughly $2,400. And then you can select the stop loss order. So that we agreed was $114,300. And then trade take profit is $123,000, which is roughly right below the previous all-time high. So now the profit to loss ratio is roughly 1.5x. And if you are happy with this trade, you can open a long trade here. And right now, when I confirm this, you can see it has now been posted. A new trade has not been opened into this account yet, because it has to basically wait until the price is at $117,900, and then it will open the trade. So that's basically how it works. You can copy this if you want to. There's always risks. And even if Bitcoin actually continues to go to the downside here, and this was a fake out, your order will not get triggered, and you are still safe that way if you want to copy this trade. And even if we get to the 117,900, there's no guarantee that it will be a profitable trade. That's why we set up the stop loss at $114,300 as well. But that's the trade there, and that was the update there. Let me know in the comments if you think we will see a bullish quarter 4, which I'm currently expecting, or how you see the rest of the year.